it's very, lack of a better word, discouraging when a candidate asks you, what do you guys do here? It's never.
Have you ever had such a candidate?
Yeah, tell. Okay, at the end, because candidates ask questions at the end, and the candidate will be like, "Can you maybe summarize for me what the company does?"
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The lady was like, "Bye, love you."
What?
Okay, hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Matsi. I hope you are good. We are finally back with our sit-down videos and I'm excited. Welcome if you are new. Please subscribe if you like the content that we put here. And if you are an old subby, thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing other people to come and join the community that we've built here. So without wasting any further time, today I am with Kego. Hi, girl.
Hi, girl.
How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Good, thanks.
Good,
So Kego is an HR practitioner, and today we are going to talk about the do's and don'ts in an interview. I know it's September, and I know that people are preparing to just enjoy their festive season. You don't want anything serious, but also a lot of us at this time, it's time to reflect and to plan for 2023. 2024.
Yes.
2024. So why not use this content to empower you and to also help you to plan for next year. If you are looking for a job, or you are looking for changing jobs, maybe you are employed and you haven't been in the market for a very long time, and now you want to know how can you prepare for an interview, what are the do's and don'ts in an interview. This video is for you. So let's get to it. How long have you been before we start, how long have you been an HR practitioner?
So I've been for 9 years now, and I must say it has been a wonderful journey. I love working with people. I love, what I do, and I'm so excited at the topic that we're touching today because it forms part of, what I do in terms of recruitment as well. As a panelist in most of cases, sitting on the other side, and the interviewers, the candidates coming through. It's always easier sitting this side, but now being here, being able to kind of advise the guys on things that we look at, right? With the hope that we get them better and we get them started. Like you said, it's that time of the year where people, are reflecting and people are looking at what has next year, how I'm preparing for next year.
What can I do better?
What can I do better? Yeah.
Okay. So before we started recording, we were talking about the 3 steps of preparation of interviews, the do's and the don'ts. Before, during, and after. Can we maybe start with the before?
Okay.
You are looking for a job, and I think most of the things that people will start doing when you are phoned, because I know for a fact that for myself, when I was looking for a job back then, when I was still in the job market, when I was looking for a job, I was not applying based on the organization that I want to go to or the company that I want to go to. It was based on the job that is available.
Yeah.
So you tend to then, after you've applied for a job and you're called for an interview, that's when you start Googling the company that has invited you for an interview. So what are the things that you need to look for when you are Googling that company?
Okay, so it's very important. Like you said, you start searching on the net, you say, okay, HR practitioners. That's what you're looking for. You don't really care about the company. You just want to have your CV out there. But it's very important as people to align what are you looking for? Right? And what type of industry you want to go into, right? You want to go into the health industry, you want to go into the mining sector, what do you want to go into? And then once you have made that decision, you start looking in those areas. Now you have done everything. You have you can always apply for the position before doing the research and things like that, because remember, at the end of the day, you just want to get your CVs out there, right? But once you have aligned yourself to say, okay, I'm going into the mining industry, this is the company that I want to, apply for, and you send out your CV. Now you start doing the work, right? Which, number one, in preparation for your interview, let's say now they've called you. Let's fast forward, they've called you, definitely that you are going to go for the interview. That's where the work then starts. Because now definitely I've nailed an interview. My CV has gotten me through. Now I need to prepare to make sure that I'm ready.
Before we even, because you just mentioned CV.
Yeah.
I've seen that there's different templates of CVs that are now out, but also I've seen that there are people that are still using the old template. So which one is more appealing rather to the panel members or the HR person? Does CV template give you points for you to be shortlisted for an interview?
Not necessarily. Yes, we want something that is short and sweet, that has all the information in it. So the template does not really matter, but what is important is the content within. It doesn't help you writing a 5-pager of a lot of things that are not relevant to the job that you're applying for.
Which is important.
Yes, it's also not to your advantage to do a 1-pager and not give us anything. Okay, so what's important is that give the necessary information, and as the hiring company, when I hold your CV, do I have everything that I need to know about you? A lot of candidates leave out very important information, like, for example, yes, I know date of birth, right? We don't put in IDs anymore, these new templates, simply because ID is confidential and things like that. But you could put an age, so that because remember, there are ages where people are no longer in the job market. Now we want to know, is this person young, is this person old, where, depending on the job that we are busy dealing with, we want to know where you are from. We want the address on there. We want to know perhaps female or male. It helps every now and then. Do you have a driver's license? So those little details that just give us a little bit more about you. Nowadays, the templates, name, surname, email address, some of them don't even have the home address, and then the person just starts giving us the information. It makes
because then sometimes you want to shortlist based on
the area.
Is it practical for a person to move from Eastern Cape to Gauteng, or are they able to commute within Gauteng? So that information is also very important.
Very important, yeah. And we tend to leave that information out. I mean, if you're applying for a position that is in another area, it's always good to, if you have family members that side, to ask for home address, to put it in there, because it does give you an advantage. Because when we do shortlist, we are looking at this area, right? So it helps you a little bit, gives you somewhat advantage if you are within the area. So by maybe getting an address for that area where you're applying for.
Okay. So in a nutshell, it doesn't really matter, but you need to remember that the CV is the one that is speaking for you.
Yes.
So it should sell you.
Exactly.
It should give us enough information.
It should get you through the door.
Okay. So you've applied based on your CV and you are shortlisted.
Yes, you've received your call from HR, hiring manager, and now they're saying, okay, fine, you have to come through for the interview. There are certain things that you need to prepare before. Most important, I think nowadays we've left it of what we've seen. We don't put too much effort in researching the company. It's still very important to do thorough research on the company. It's going to give you more confidence because now, again, you don't know how the line of questioning would go. So know as much as you can about the company. Look at their website. You can also look at their social media platforms for more information. Look at the products, the services that they render. Okay, make yourself familiar with that. It's very, lack of a better word, discouraging when a candidate asks you, what do you guys do here? It's not for us.
Have you ever had such a candidate?
Yeah, tell. Okay, at the end, because candidates ask questions at the end, and the candidate will be like, "Can you maybe summarize for me what the company does?"
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
That's information that you need to come prepare yourself, and make sure that you know. The question should be from us. When we are asking you, what do you know about our company? Because we want to know if you have really interest in the company. Have you done your research? And it will also help you with that question that comes through. Why do you want to work for us? Right?
Yeah.
So if you've seen what the company does, what they're all about, you can then align yourself. And also that question, remember, not only are you there, are you being interviewed by the company, but you're also interviewing the company to see if you are the best fit, if you want to work for them.
But do you think in such a country that we are living in, where jobs are like very, very scarce, do we care about alignment?
No. We don't, but it's a reality. To say, because that's why most of the time we don't find people staying in the organization, because you then didn't see if I am also a fit for this organization. It's very important. If you know yourself, you know your values, the company values are there. See if you really align with what they are doing. Are you for what they stand for? It will also make retention for yourself within the organization a bit longer. You will stay a bit longer because there are certain things about this company that stood out for you, that you can relate with, and therefore you want to be part of whatever they are for.
But I think I would say for especially young people that haven't been in the job market as yet, get in wherever you want to. Because you spoke about the importance of knowing who you are and your values and what you align yourself with. But if you are young and you don't know all of that, you haven't discovered yourself, because I feel experience is the best teacher.
Correct.
So you can't define your values or say you are not aligning with a certain company when you haven't really discovered yourself, and career-wise, because values can be family values, can be personal values and career-wise, and also what works with what will fit into the life that you want to live. Is it a place where you're going to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or Monday to Sunday? Are you a family person? You want to spend time with family, or you don't mind being at work for 7 days? So those are the things that you will discover as and when you are inside the company.
That's also true. Because like you said, I mean, I'm just straight out of school. What do I know, right? So, but then still researching the company.
It's important.
It gives a good impression that, you know what you are looking for. You are interested in this company that you are applied for. You didn't just stumble upon this advert and then you just applied and therefore you're not prepared. So very important to do your research about the company. Then once you have done that, prepare. Go through questions, that could be asked, right, in that interview. Get a friend, a family member to sit down with you, ask these questions, kind of interview, role play with somebody. If you don't have anyone to do that with, you can, sit in front of the mirror and then, ask yourself these questions. It will really help you with the nerves, because interviews can be very, very nerve-wracking. So when you do the preparation, it just helps you a little bit.
So do sort of like recite your questions. Okay. All right.
Then so once you have done the it's also very important. Still, first impressions still count, guys. It's very important. I think that has died along the way, in terms of diversity and being me and wanting to be me. But when you're going for an interview, first impressions still count. Look smart, right? Make the efforts to look smart, formal, semi-formal. Don't come there rocking up with a t-shirt, and just be neat and be presentable.
And I think, like you said, once you know the company that you are going to be interviewed at, then you know the kind of work that they are doing.
Exactly.
So obviously, if maybe you're going into marketing, media, entertainment industry, you would dress a certain way, fit for that position. If you're going to a formal set up, you would dress in a formal manner that fits the position, so that you can, because you also want them to see that you fit the culture of the organization or the company that you go into.
Absolutely. So that's very important. What we also, when you do then come to the interview, now the official day, you are there in the morning or coming through the reception, very important, manners matter. Everybody that you're going to meet with in that office, be nice, because you don't know if that's a very person who's going to sit with you in the interview. I mean, from the cleaner to the guy at the security, just be nice, be kind, greet everyone, because yes, those are not determining factor if you're going to get the job or not. But you know, you never know who's going to be consulted about you. You understand? So it's very important just to leave that good impression with everybody. Be kind, greet everyone, be polite, and don't forget that manners also do count, because you never know who's going to be. You might be mean to the receptionist only to find the receptionist sitting inside
the interview.
Already you've left a bitter taste in their mouth, which might influence how they then judge you, or how they judge your interview. Very important.
And also be on time.
There's the other one.
Be early, actually.
Early, yeah.
Be early, not on time. Be early.
Be early. There's a lot of unforeseen things, unforeseen circumstances that can happen. Make sure you allow enough time to get to the interview venue, and still enough time to get there, sit down, relax, smile. You don't want to come in there running and rushing. Already this interview, now you're worried about being late. It's just not going to work to your disadvantage. So I normally tell the guy 10 minutes before you must be seated, at least ready, waiting. They must not wait for you. Yeah. Impressions.
I mean, we've had people that would call and say, I have issues with transport. Or maybe you were on time and then you had a flat tire. And they call, and do you think that is acceptable? There are unforeseen circumstances that might happen that will, hinder you from being there early. So what do you do in that instance? And do you think it's acceptable, or it's just a no-go area?
Well, again, it's unforeseen circumstances. And here we just want to say, you know what, do your best to be as early as possible. And when the unforeseen circumstances do happen, then very good for you to pick up the phone. Don't let the recruiter look for you, and because for the fact that you called and said, you know what, I'm in trouble, I'm stuck somewhere, also say something about you. Right? It gives a positive light about the type of person that you are, because we do understand that these things happen. But ideally, we don't want them to happen. So make sure that you leave enough time to get there on time. But when they do happen, courtesy, pick up the phone, let the interview, the person who invited you to the interview know that you are running late. But I mean, like you said, it's unforeseen circumstances that sometimes there's really nothing that you could have done about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are there.
So now you are here. They call you in. Very important that when you now sit in front of the panel members, what we've seen, and I think for me, it's also something that really says something, like when you are sitting down, make sure that you are sitting up straight, looking at your panel members. Pick a panel member. Sometimes we are scary. We are sitting there and you are also nervous. So pick the one that looks friendly for you, to focus more on the one that smiles. It's always that one.
Yeah.
That it will help when you kind of relate to the person. They have a smile on their face. It calms the nerves. And also when you are sitting down, make sure that you are not slouchy and like lying, leaning, whatever, because then it kind of says.
And guys, some of you do that.
Yeah.
Others will be like, the way I'm sitting now, exactly. People will sit like this in an interview.
So sit up straight. Don't also, with a chair. It's so small, but those things, they say, you can also send a message to say your concentration span, you can't concentrate, on a certain task for a long time. That's why you are like, it could be nerves as well, but just try. That's why the preparation prior is so important, right? Sit up straight, focus, and don't play around with the chair that you're sitting in. During interviews, there are certain questions that you need to prepare for that definitely we know those are going to come through, that you need to be prepared for. And I think one of those questions is tell us a bit about yourself. Right, there's a differentiation when somebody says, tell us a bit about yourself and please, recite your CV to us. You need to, when they tell you to tell them about yourself, it's important that you look at your skills. You look at the experience, you touch on the experience that you bring. You also touch on the achievements, right? What you have achieved, where you've come from, and also what you bring to the table, to the company, what value you're gonna add.
Because others would say, why are you the best candidate for this job? And you're like, I went to school for it. Everyone that is shortlisted is qualified for the job that they are shortlisted for. So it has to be something that stands out.
Yes.
The value that you're going to add to the company. Yeah.
Correct. So and one thing also during the questions, don't give close-ended questions. Yes, no. Right? Elaborate on your answers. Right? There's this where when panels ask you something that you don't know, or an experience, they want you to recite an experience, maybe with conflict with a colleague. If you've never been in such a situation, it's okay. You let them know that you have not been in such a situation before. However, if you were to be in such a situation, this is how you would handle it. It then goes to show that, you can think quickly on your feet. You can apply yourself. You can apply your mind, right? So it's very important. Don't give close-ended questions. Yes, no, I don't know. Never say I don't know. Sometimes take a moment to think. It might not be exactly that scenario that they want, but something similar. So if you take a moment to breathe, think about it, then give an example that is in alignment to what they are asking. Might not necessarily be exact, you understand, but try and find a scenario that can relate to what they are asking.
So do you think having a delay tactic of saying, please rephrase your question while you are thinking about the answer, is that advisable when a candidate says, please rephrase your question?
Well, the candidate could genuinely, need you to rephrase it because they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
But depending on how often you say that, that will throw you off. Okay. Don't say every single question, please rephrase. Number one, it will tell us that, it might be that you are not competent, you don't know. Or number two, you
don't understand the language.
There's a language barrier, it's always okay to say if you don't have the answer at the moment, which we then prefer also to say, can we circle back to that question? And make sure that you remember, right, to tell that when you're at the end to say, can we then go back to that question again? And also that one, you cannot say it for every single question. So those are the things that and it's also okay to say, can I think about it? Pause, think, and answer. It also goes to tell that you are confident and you are self-assured when you take a moment to think. Don't rush. We have this that we rush to answer the panel because maybe the nerves, number two, you just want this interview to be over. No, take your time, ask them to give you time to think, and then you respond. It says a lot about you.
So, I'm thinking now as we are talking that we always have, nowadays with technology, there's always those candidates that would be interviewed virtually. Correct. Instead of them being there. That's the whole thing that we are talking. Okay, obviously being early, being on time, but that also applies. Because some people would want to connect at 10 o'clock and the interview is at 10, or they haven't tested their connection. Exactly. Now we have load shedding in South Africa, so you have to plan,
look at the
schedule and plan accordingly.
Exactly. So the preparation applies, whether online or on site. Okay. I always say for the guys who are there, I always say, be ready. Join on the call and wait on the lobby at least 10 minutes before. So you see, it also applies. You need to be, and like you said, make sure that you test your system, your Wi-Fi, your network, is everything working? Are you ready? And also, presentation.
Some people attend interviews at the gown.
Oh my gosh. We see you and we want to see you. Because that's what
guys,
you do.
no.
Virtually, you'll see things. You'll see things. So very important, because we will ask you to put your camera on. Now we have your teams, we have like technology allowing us to be able to see you. We will not necessarily do a telephonic interview because we can't see you. But when we say it's a virtual video, we want to see. So make sure that your background is clean, it's in a proper space, there's no noise, or minimal noise. Where
you're moving around. It's like you are vlogging.
You understand.
You are like, huh? Moving around, there's no stability, there's a lot of fiddling noise and business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes the guys take the calls on the car, which we understand. You are at work, you quickly took your lunch hour to attend to this interview, yet still find a place where it's quiet in the car,
where you can be settled.
Where you can be settled and take the interview without any interruptions. Also, during, what's important is that prepare questions for the panel members. It says a lot about you as well. It will leave a very good impression when you prepare questions for them. Not questions like the salary.
We want to know.
Yes, we want to know, but it kind of, how can I put it? It sends off almost the wrong, there's a way of putting it, right?
Okay.
Some adverts do put in the salary. So when you come here and you say, please tell me what is the salary for the position, did you not look at the advert, right? For those that do have the salary on there. But you can always ask to say, how does the company compensate its employees for, best performance? I did, with my research, I did see, your advert did mention some of, the benefits of the organization. So, them run you through the benefits if need be. And sometimes they can also pose the question to you, what's your expectation? But with laws that, within the country, where sometimes it can be seen as discrimination, when you want to discriminate against a candidate based on their salary expectation. So some panel members companies don't really ask that question. It comes later on in the process, that process. But structure your question if you are going to feel the need to ask about the salary. So you pose it in a way that you can ask them how do they compensate, not compensate, but how do they appreciate or reward their members within the organization? What benefits do they have within the organization for staff members? And then they will start breaking it down to you. They might break down and go straight to the salary of the position. They might break it down in terms of, what do we have, the benefits.
So if they don't touch on the salary at all,
it's not advisable to ask.
Wow, tricky. Okay.
It's not advisable to ask because it can send the wrong message to the panel that you are leaving your organization because you're looking for more money. Yes, it's true. I mean, with the economy as it is, we want more money, we want more benefits, we want to be valued for the work that we put in. And we know that. We know that as panel members, we know that as companies. So it's really not advised. It leaves a very bitter taste, and it can be, give the wrong information about you. So rather ask questions like, how does this position add value to the organization? Right? Because then it also shows that you really you want to matter. You want your inputs to matter. You want, to know the value that you said you're going to be adding, that really this position does add value maybe to the mission and vision of the organization. So something in that line. You could also then ask them in the first 30 days of employment, what would be expected of this position, the key areas that you would need to focus more on. Because remember, again, what I said in the beginning, you are trying to also see if you are the best fit for the organization, right? The things that you will be doing, is it things that you see yourself doing as well. Even if those things are not the final deciding factor, it's also then good to know. Also, one that you ask the next steps to the recruiting process. So what's next from here? When will you hear from the company, right? And then they will give you an indication as to when they will get back to you. That's a good question to ask as well.
Okay. So for internal candidates, people that are applying for a position within their company, obviously you are familiar with the panel members that will be interviewing you on that day. What are some of the do's and don'ts of like the boundaries that should not be overstepped when you are an internal candidate? Because sometimes we might lose it and think that they know me, or they know me, or it's me, I'm a hard worker, and all of those things.
You still have to prepare for it as if it's with another company you are exiting, not your current company. It's a turn off to recruiters and the panel members when we can pick it up. They can pick it up when you did not prepare because you think you are an internal candidate. So the preparation is also important because the bar is set even higher for internal candidates. Okay, so the questions that they may ask, they are expecting you to know because you are in the organization. So make sure that you prepare thoroughly. Go through, don't think that you know, go through the job description that for the position that you are preparing for. Every single thing that we've spoken about to this point matters for an internal candidate, and we can pick it up if you didn't prepare thoroughly. So it's important to prepare. And also, the unfortunate part is that you are competing against external people whom also have the experience, although not within this organization. So they are coming well prepared. So you can't just come and they know me, I'm just going to wing it. We will pick it up.
Yeah.
So the preparation is important as well.
And language, because
guys, let's
because I know you get like a hike,
no, guys, don't.
Sometimes in an interview, English run away.
It does run away.
So are you able to just switch? Because these people you're already familiar with. What language you usually talk using. So can I switch if my English is gone?
No, you can't. You could if you ask, can I express myself in Sesotho, whatever the language that you want to express yourself.
But is it advisable?
It's not. It's not advisable because we look at communicate. English is the modem of communication for all. Now, if you are not able to express yourself in the language, it could be the nerves or whatever, but try express yourself in the language. It also helps to talk slowly, take your time. You understand? If you know that your English, you are nervous, English is not your strongest of languages, take your time. That's why you need to speak slowly. Take your time to think about your answer that you're going to give. Don't rush through it because we forget. The English runs away because you're just wanting to finish up. So it's not advisable to really ask to express yourself and you could find that this position is a bit a step up from where you are, where presentations you need to be able to present certain parts of your work. So now when you come here and you already
speaking your mother tongue,
communication, presentation skills, everything becomes then a question for you. So it's not advisable. Speak the English language if that's how they are conducting the interview. There are times where panel members can say, depending on who's sitting here, you are more than welcome to express yourself. Let it be them that say that and not you.
So if the panel members are the ones that are speaking in their mother tongue or the language that we usually use when we talk to each other at work, can I then respond in that language, or I must stick to English all the way?
Stick to English, keep it professional,
okay.
Because you wouldn't necessarily, if they want to see if you are fluent in a different language, they will ask you to, are you fluent? Maybe can we take this next question in this language, because this is the language that you'll be speaking most of the time, whatever the case might be. Continue to be professional. Let them be the ones that say, no, that one we need you to answer in in a different language, because we want to, it's important. It is a key factor in the position that you have applied for.
Okay. All right. And then
now I've gone through my whole interview. What do I do now when I stand up from there? You stand up, you thank the panel members for the invitation to the interview. If possible, you stand up, you firmly shake hands with them. Not necessarily, you don't have to, but it's also good if that's possible. Shake hands, thank them, and then exit the interview room. Also, when you need to wait for them to say, we've come to the end of the interview. After you've asked your last questions, you are excused from the interview. Then you rise, you thank them, you rise, and then you leave the room.
Then virtually
the same. They will end the interview and thank you. After thanking you, they might exit you out. But as soon as they say thank you for the interview, thank you for coming through, take care, you then switch off. Then after, there's still steps that we do encourage that, or I would like to encourage that you take those steps after the interview. That's maybe an email to the panel members or to the recruiter. If you don't have emails to some of the panel members, if you have the email for the recruiter, to just send a short thank you email, just simple and short, saying thank you. You like to thank them for the interview. It was a good experience. You learned a lot about the company. And if there's anything that they need that you can assist with in, with the process going further, you open to that. They can reach out to you for more information. You know why also that's important? We might have said with so many people, 10 candidates, and then 2 days later, this email comes in. It's kind of a refresher. You are bringing yourself back into the mind of whoever was interviewing, so you kind of just bringing yourself back into their memory. It's very good. Not a lot of candidates do that. The little few that have done that, and how I've seen, the panelists respond to those. They may not respond, and don't take it, offensive or anything, when they don't respond. What's important is that you have sent out the email, but there is a reaction towards that, to say, oh wow, okay, and then you bring yourself back to their memory.
I think the other thing that we miss out is the age gap. Because, in other interviews, it's evident that the panel members might be younger than you, and you are way older. Then you forget that you are still a candidate. Correct. And you need to be. I remember in one of the interviews, it was virtually, and the lady was like, bye, love you.
What? Yeah.
So you can see that she's a mother, and she's trying to mother us. Bye, love you.
And how did you? Interesting. How did you receive that? Because it sounds like you were sitting here.
I laughed. It was cute, but obviously it's not acceptable.
Yes, it's not.
I laughed. I said bye, but obviously after switching off the camera, we laughed as the panel members, but that is not acceptable,
No,
guys.
can't.
It's not. Because, it gives an impression that you are one of those that won't be manageable because you are older than your manager or your supervisor. Because at work is work. Whether you are 20 years, 30 years older than me as your supervisor, work is work. I can still exercise my authority as a supervisor.
Exactly. Also, not to undermine the panel members, whether they are young, old, whatever. It can also mean that you are undermining the people that are sitting on the other side. So, key to everything: be professional. If it's not professional, don't do it. I think that's playing on the safer side. If it's not professional, don't do it. Don't ask it if you think it's not professional. Be as professional as possible.
Okay.
But that's quite something else.
That was really funny. We see a lot of things in interviews, and I think that's why it was important for us to sit down.
Yeah.
Because I've had the opportunity of being in both sides, being interviewed and being the interviewer. So and I mean with a lot of people that are unemployed, sometimes you wonder what is it that I'm doing, because you've been attending interviews after interviews, but still you're not called. And I mean, sometimes it's not that you did anything wrong. You were just not fitting, fit for the organization.
And I like that you've touched on, for the people that find themselves unemployed and now having to go back into the job market. What I would advise for people like that, try and get people in the line where you are going into before the interview, to give you some tips, right? It's been some time that you've not been in the job market, so it's very important that kind of juice yourself up again. And also, when you are doing the interview, do not sound desperate.
Yeah.
Now you've been out of work for so long. Yes, you are desperate, but panelists do not want to see the desperation, because, or for example, when you to say, please give me any job, I'm willing to do any job, or beg for the job, sound desperate for the job. Because people who are like that, and even if you do get the job, you might not even stay longer with him, because now they've given you whatever, right? You've asked for whatever position, and they give you whatever position. It's because it's whatever, it's not what you want.
It goes back to alignment.
It goes back to alignment, and therefore it's gonna bore you very quickly, and you're gonna leave the organization. You are still a professional despite the gap. And also that gap, it's very important, I'd say, for us to, during the time that you are not employed, to be active and to do something, because we do ask, what have you been, what's the gap for, what have you been doing this whole time? And even if you haven't been working, but I have been hustling, whatever that you've been doing, I have been working on myself, show that.
Selling Tupperware,
give us those things. Don't find yourself being what's the lack of a better word, redundant, if I can put it that way, where by the time you go back into the job market, you are just an empty can.
But earlier you mentioned that in your CV, you need to put experience that is in alignment with what you've applied for. So from what you're saying, in an instance where I've been working at a supermarket, and it has nothing to do with what I've applied for, should I still put it in the CV so that they see that I've been doing something, or that is something that I can mention in the interview?
So with that, you're going to put it in your CV, because we want to know what you have been doing, but you're not going to put the things, the actual things that you're not going to start talking about. I was taking the duties. Yeah, you're not going to put in the duties, but you're going to say shopkeeper, the date and the time. What you could also then do in the key things that you have done, maybe it's not the same industry, but you were supervising. So you would just write you were supervising and what maybe you've learned, right? You were not supervising, but you were working. What did you learn? You learned time management, because you needed to be on time at work, things like that. So align it. You don't have to write exactly the duties that you were doing that are not relevant, but in that time, what did you learn that is relevant? Okay. And or just close the gap within the CV, because we find ourselves, we have the CV, number one. If the recruiter is like me, who does the efforts to go find you and ask you why is the gap there, they're going to take your CV and chuck it away, because you didn't mention any. It's an incomplete CV. We want a comprehensive CV. So make sure that you do mention that I was a shopkeeper for this time and this time. You don't have to put in the duties that you are doing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Matsi. It was really wonderful sitting with you and talking about.
It's been long coming. Yeah. We've been planning this, I don't know, for how long time ago.
But maybe before we close, just to say to the guys who will be, who are applying for work and things, be positive. We're talking about positivity. You know what? Very important. point that I want to mention during interviews: do not bad mouth your previous employer.
Please.
Previous
that's
employer or colleagues. Don't bad, even if you've had the worst of experience where you are coming from. When they ask you why you're leaving your current employer, don't need to bring out the trash from your previous employer, right? Because if your boss was a bad boss, it's just about time when you're gonna find an excuse in this new position
to badmouth your current boss.
Say. So you need to, the demeanor that you're gonna have throughout your interview is one of positivity. So you rather tell them that you are looking for greener pastures, you are looking to develop yourself, to grow, you've been in this position, you feel like you have gathered all the knowledge that you need. It's now time to take that to another company where you can then further add value. And so that's very important, to be positive. And the guys that are looking for work, stay positive. Just keep throwing your CVs. I think it's like planting a seed. Throw. You don't know which of the seeds will become seedlings, which one will grow. So don't stop throwing. Every no leads you to a yes.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm gonna close it there. I think I wanted to ask
closing remark.
So I think that is the closing remark. Every no leads to a yes. Yeah. So thank you guys. I hope this was very informative for you. We have equipped you with skills for you to prepare for interviews, be it in 2023 or 2024. You can always come back, look at the video, and refresh your mind, prepare for interviews. We wish you well. Thank you for watching. My name is Kegomoditswe. Please don't forget to comment, to subscribe, to share the video, to like the video, share it with anyone that you think it might be helpful for them. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.